do you think practice owners care that much about cultural fit? Is that a big
Mm.
driver for them when they're looking for new?
Yeah, I think it is, and again, you're probably closer to this, having worked in a practice far more recently than me. But I think my two observations there were, so to answer your question directly, I think most of them really do care. If
Yeah,
you've been part of building up a practice over 20, 30
yeah,
years, and you've got a team of people, I think most people probably do care what their new home is going
yeah,
to look
yeah,
like, and whether they're going to be a good fit, and all that cultural stuff. So I think that's the first thing. And then I guess the second thing on that point related to price was the kind of structure versus price bit.
hmm,
And something that they said, something that Cahal and James were talking about, which is that the sellers are also buyers,
yeah,
in that we're actually buying into the equity story of the mothership. So we're selling our accountancy practice to you, and we're taking 50% in cash now, and that de-risks us and solves all the usual problems that having that capital solves. But then the rest of our equity is being rolled into the top co. So if I'm rolling, if you're telling me my stake is worth X, but I'm going to give you 50% of X in cash and 50% in equity, you need to be a believer in the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
equity story.
yeah,
So I thought that was quite interesting, that kind of cultural thing, because if you weren't a believer in that and you didn't care about your staff,
mm,
then you take 100% cash, right?
yeah,
You don't care about the legacy of the
yeah,
business.
yeah,
You're pushing for 100% cash.
yeah,
Um, but I think that, yeah, that whole kind of, it feels like a bit of a dance, that whole
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
structuring
yeah,
piece. Um, as does, I'm sure we'll talk about this, but as does the whole like um, profit, underlying profit versus salary bit.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because if you're a partner, an equity partner, and there are 10 of you, and you make a profit of 2 million quid, that's 200 grand each.
yeah, yeah,
And then the profit after partners drawing is zero. Nobody wants to buy it.
no, no,
Nobody's going to buy an earnings line of
yeah, yeah,
zero. So you need to turn that into one of profit.
yeah,
But in order to turn it into one of profit, the 10 partners have to reduce their drawings from 200 to a salary
yeah, yeah,
of
yeah,
100. So it feels like those are the kind of levers, that was the sense I got. Those are the kind of levers
yeah,
that are being pulled. It's like, okay, well, you want more salary, so your profits are lower. So the business is worth
yeah,
less
yeah,
because it's the same multiple
yeah,
of two different profit
yeah.
numbers. And then there's the structuring
Yeah,
bit as well.
I mean, it sounds to me it's basically that kind of classic advisor discussion that goes on. You know, there's an equation to work out, and you have to almost, explain the circumstances around that. I think on the
Mhm.
um, cultural question, thinking back to my previous home, I think you spot on there with, as Carhal said in the webinar this morning. Partners care
Yeah,
about their clients,
yeah,
and I think that obviously is a big part of the piece in this kind of jigsaw of
yeah,
how you set up
yeah.
an exit.
Because I guess that's, the without the clients, there's, I mean, it's such an obvious
Yeah,
thing to say, there's no business.
yeah, yeah,
And I guess sometimes we maybe wonder, this is great for the partners. It might be great for the staff because, I don't know, more opportunity and so on.
mm,
Good for the PE, but is it actually good for the clients? And I thought it was quite interesting, some of the stories they were telling about NPS scores
mm,
and the commercial due diligence that they were involved in, Cahill and James were involved in, that looked to the client bank and said, what's important to you, what factors are important in your accountant, and actually ownership was pretty low
yeah,
down.
yeah, yeah,
There are
yeah,
lots of other things that ranked ahead of
yeah,
ownership.
yeah,
Maybe some of those things are influenced by ownership, though.
yeah,
I don't
potentially,
know,
yeah,
but I guess that it doesn't make any sense to not keep the partners and the staff post deal um, bought in and incentivized. Because if they're not bought in and incentivized, your clients start leaking,
yeah,
and the business case is
yeah.
is damaged.
Yeah, and no private equity
Yes,
or trade buyer wants that, do they?
yes,
Yeah, it's all about
exactly.
keeping those clients.